With the ambition to become a sustainable, environmentally friendly aviation hub, Singapore has just announced a series of initiatives, including measures to add fuel tax to airline tickets. Select both development and environment. The Civil Aviation Authority of Singapore, CAAS, proposed a series of initiatives to turn the island nation into a sustainable aviation hub and was announced by Singapore Transport Minister Chee Hong Tat at the ongoing Changi Aviation Summit. Take place. According to Channel News Asia, CNA, in this plan, CAAS will deploy initiatives in 3 areas including airline management, airports, and aviation operations to support the sustainable development of the country. Aviation sector and cutting carbon emissions. According to the plan, Singapore aims to reduce emissions from airport operations by 20% by 2030 compared to 2019 levels. The island nation also aims to achieve emissions from domestic and international aviation activities. Net zero international flights by 2050, including emissions from international flights conducted by operators in Singapore. Speaking at the conference, Mr. Chee said, "Our approach is to create conditions for the aviation sector to both develop and achieve environmental sustainability goals. We do not want to choose between the 2 goals, above but both." Energy production right at Changi Airport. In airport management, CAAS will implement measures to reduce energy consumption and produce renewable energy at Changi Airport. Specifically, CAAS will coordinate with Changi Airport Group, CAG, to install photovoltaic equipment systems on the roofs of buildings at Changi Airport and Sealtar Airport. At the same time, CAAS will study the feasibility of installing solar equipment at the airport. From the end of 2023, Changi Airport has reached a power generation capacity of nearly 4% of the electricity this facility consumed in 2019. According to CNA, the installation of additional rooftop solar systems will help generate 6% more electricity energy in total electricity consumption. CAAS also aims that all vehicles operating at Changi Airport will be clean energy vehicles by 2040. All light vehicles such as cars, vans, minibuses, and some types of light vehicles, heavy vehicles such as forklifts and trailers serving Changi Airport will also be electric vehicles from 2025. Another initiative is that CAAS will work with CAG and other partners to improve energy efficiency at Changi Airport terminals. The priority focus for improvement is the air conditioning system at the airport, equipment that accounts for more than half of the total electricity consumption of the terminals. Changi Airport is planning to install heat-reflective materials to reduce the energy consumed by the air conditioning system as well as improve the cooling system. In addition, CAAS plans to build a waste-to-energy facility at Changi Airport. This facility will convert waste into raw materials for power generation or biofuel production for use at the airport. In air travel management, CAAS will coordinate with partners to reduce fuel consumption over the next 5 years. Accordingly, they will take measures to improve the ability to manage long-haul flights and improve the accuracy of weather forecast information. According to CNA, initiatives in air travel management will help cut both fuel consumption and emissions by 10%. Collect additional sustainable fuel fees. Among the series of initiatives, another proposal that receives a lot of attention is that from 2026, an additional tax on sustainable fuel will be collected to require flights departing from this island nation to use sustainable jet fuel. According to CAAS, Singapore is the first country in the world to apply tariffs to achieve sustainable aviation fuel goals. The total proceeds will be used to purchase environmentally friendly fuel. The CAAS target is that sustainable aviation fuel will account for 1% of total jet fuel used at Changi Airport and Sealtar Airport by 2026. Ultimately, sustainable aviation fuel will account for 3 to 5% by 2030. According to CNA, with the above regulations, airlines may increase ticket prices and passengers will be responsible for this cost. Environmentally friendly fuel, mainly made from waste materials such as used cooking oil, and is 3 to 5 times more expensive than conventional fuel. But this is an important way for the aviation industry to reduce carbon emissions. Although the specific details of the proposal are unclear, A preliminary estimate from CAAS is that economy-class passengers may incur an additional fee of $3 for short-haul flights such as from Singapore to Bangkok, $6 for medium-haul flights, such as Singapore, Tokyo, and $16 for long-haul flights, such as from Singapore to London. Other countries have also implemented sustainable aviation fuel requirements, but in the form of mandates based on fixed volumes. However, the downside of these regulations is that the sustainable fuel market is still young and supply is uncertain. It is estimated that by 2024, sustainable aviation fuel production is expected to triple to 1.875 billion liters, but this number only accounts for 0.53% of the global aviation industry's fuel demand. Because of limited supply and high demand, the price of sustainable jet fuel is significantly higher and more volatile than conventional fuel, so CAAS chose to levy the tax. This option is expected to overcome the cost of using environmentally friendly jet fuel. Airlines will still have to pay for the fuel they use, but CAAS will manage costs as it will centrally procure sustainable fuel on behalf of the airlines. When buying on a large scale, there will be more economic advantages. France and Sweden have required a minimum of 1% sustainable jet fuel use, and the European Union has agreed regulations mandating 6% use by 2030, gradually increasing to 70% by 2050. Japan is planning to require 10% sustainable fuel use by 2030, while India is considering applying 1% by 2027 for international flights and increasing it to 5% by 2030. Some airlines have begun to pass on these additional costs to passengers. For example, Air France and KLM charge an additional fee of 1 to 24 euros, 1 Singapore dollar and 45 cents to $34.80 on tickets to cover the cost of green fuel.